Let me know, Prabhuji, if it's visible.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's visible.
Hare Krishna. So, today, as we are going to discuss about the holy name, uh, I just brought the gist in terms of what we are looking to cover today. So, all of us know, as we have been the regular chanters, all of you have been participating for years in doing chanting together. So, all the points which is mentioned here is known to us. It is for my own purification I am calling out again. And also, as Srila Prabhupada says, that in material world, same thing you hear more and more, you get bored. You want to always look for new avenues, green pastures, where you will get a different taste. In spiritual investment, more and more you hear from scriptures. Actually, you find a new information there, which can lead to transformation. So always we should be keen to hear from scriptures and not think that this already I have heard. So is there something new which will transform me? And that's where today, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, I'm going to leverage on Chaitanya Chaitamrita to glorify holy name and focus on how to chant. So if you see here, we are going to look to cover holy name as only means of liberation in Kali Yuga. Sometimes we get misled by looking at different menus or different areas which will titillate us to transform. But again, time and again, it's emphasized by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that holy name in this age of Kali Yuga is the only means to get out of the cycle of birth and death. And then again, we are not stopping there because we want to know to get convinced. So, holy name itself is Lord Krishna, the incarnation of Krishna. And if we are convinced, then we'll be talking about the cleansing power of the holy name. And what is the hope which we have when we chant? Because even the most fallen souls can be delivered. So we should not be hopeless. Also, what are the qualities of preparation we need to do to chant holy name? And if we do all this parameters we follow, then what holy name does actually, it awakens Krishna Prem. And obviously, we have to chant purely. So what is the effect of chanting purely? And last but not the least, what is the essence of the holy name in Chaitanya Chaitamrita is mentioned, which is very critical, and all of us should read that. And finally, we'll look for the takeaway and also what Srila Prabhupada quotes about the holy name. So to start with, holy name as only means of liberation in Kali Yuga. So we know this shloka very well, but we have to keep repeating almost every day in our mind. Use our intelligence, because at least I keep forgetting, and the intent is to keep reminding ourselves that Hare Nam, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasti, Ivanasti, Ivanasti Gathir, Anitha. This means that in this age of Kali, only the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is the way to liberate. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Let's double click this. So what it actually means? It means that, yes, in different yugas, we had different practices, meditation, deity worships, scriptural study, and it might have been effective in those yugas. But in Kali Yuga, the easiest and the most effective method is Nam Sankirtan, the chanting of Krishna's name. We have heard these obscene number of times because all of us are devotees in different platforms. But time and again, by default, sometimes based on our conditioning, we try to leverage beyond holy name on these aspects which was meant for different yugas. So that means if we are doing that way, then our conviction we are lacking in terms of the power of holy name. Because all of us are born in Kali Yuga, we have to 100% leverage on holy name. Other practices, spiritual practices could have its effects, but it will not be 100%. And it could be impure in nature. It could lead to side effects because in Kali Yuga, the purity is lacking. In every aspects, wherever we go, whatever we intake, whatever we see, whatever we feel, whatever we touch, mostly it's impure, almost 100%. Also, the beauty of holy name is that in my childhood, I used to see that the Pandits can only recite certain mantras. You have to cleanse yourself, you have to take bath, you have to do this, you have to do that. So, in our mind only, in our childhood, in our society, it was inscribed that we are not meant to chant or we are not meant to recite mantras. It's the work of Pandits who are in temple. Our job is to just be like Shudras, do the job, earn money. But look at it how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu totally inverted it. That because holy name is the hope and everybody can chant in spite of any caste, creed, background. And this was huge. That's where we see with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, with so much of diversity across the world, we have one common base, which is called chanting. And that unites us as we are part and parcel of God. So Prabhupada says that chanting of holy name is directly enacted from the spiritual platform, surpassing all the lower states of consciousness. It could be sensual, it could be mental, it could be intellectual. Because if we are not in Krishna consciousness, we fall in some bracket or the other. Could be sensual, mental, intellectual. And we have this kind of a fear also that then I have to understand more and I'm not that intellectually well equipped. I'm not very savvy in terms of learning. So Prabhupada also says that there is no need of understanding the language of mantra, nor is there any need of mental speculation or any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Mahamantra. Why? Because it springs automatically from the spiritual platform. And anyone can take part in this transcendental sound vibration without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy. In material world, anything and everything we do, we need qualification. But chanting doesn't require qualification. The only qualification chanting requires is to chant. Holy name as incarnation of Krishna. So sometimes we distinguish between holy name and Krishna himself. And yes, by philosophy we know, but in our mind, when we see deity in the temple, we have a different bhava. But when we are holding the mala and chanting, we do not have same bhava. That means we are already discriminating that holy name is not anything but Krishna. So as in Madhya Lila, chapter 22, shloka 136, it's mentioned, Nama vinu kali kale dharma nahi yara, kali kale nama rupe Krishna avatara. In Kali Yuga, there is no other religious principle except chanting the holy name because Krishna has incarnated in his name or as his name. So it says that holy name is non-different from Krishna himself. Abhinatvam Nama namino. When one chants, one associates directly with Krishna. So such is the impact. Then why we have to go hither and thither? Such is the responsibility we have, that when we chant, we can directly associate with Krishna. Actually, when we do some material sound, it is said that in material world, when you make more sound, you gain less knowledge. When you hear more, you gain more knowledge. But in our spiritual side, when we say more or chant more, along with that, here we gain more knowledge, we gain more depth, because it's transcendental, it's ever pure, and it bestows divine love, that is Krishna Prem. So then the question arises that, okay, I chant, then how we can get Krishna Prem, or how we can be progressing? And every morning we recite this cleansing power of the holy name. चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेया कैरवा चंद्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पुनामृत स्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम. The holy name cleanses the mirror of the heart, extinguishes the blazing fire of material suffering, and spreads the moonlight of benedictions. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge, increases the ocean of bliss, enables one to taste nectar at every step. Let's go a little deep on this shloka, given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, cleansing the heart. The name of Krishna removes the layers of material conditioning and purifies the consciousness. Sometimes we have to put extra effort when we have to clean our house separately. Right? Everything requires extra effort in material world. But here, if you are chanting, automatically the conditioning we had for so many cycles of birth and that starts getting cleansed up. So I am not doing anything. My only qualification is that we have to chant. When you chant, the cleansing of heart automatically starts. So it's like a all in one. You don't have to put any extra yards, any extra effort for cleansing the heart. Chanting itself does that. And we all know that how much anarthas we have done in our past because of our past conditioning. And we every time and again repent for that. Even every day also we do some sort of anartha or others. But chanting cleans the heart. So that is the continual process. Also, sometimes we think all of us go through pain and we talk about suffering, and there are so many sufferings, right? And in material world, we are in a hope that we will become happy someday. And the blueprint is set that we'll never be happy. For example, in our childhood, when we are growing up, parents told that you first of all study, then you can eat what you want, then you can go where you want, then you can enjoy life. So our eating habits were restricted in childhood because money was less, we were not in control. But there you go, once we grow up, we went through so much of studies to realize that now, because we are grown up, we cannot eat everything. We have to restrict, otherwise health gets impacted. And then we get married, then we have kids. Even if everybody is nice also, then health becomes a concern. If health is not a concern, then job becomes a concern. If everything is okay, then relatives become a concern. If that is also okay, then COVID becomes a concern. So actually speaking, in material world, suffering never stops. So this is our first basic ask when we come to Krishna consciousness. I have seen when the new devotees are coming to Krishna consciousness, their only objective is they want peace. They are not into, I want to go back to Godhead, I want to serve Krishna, I want to serve devotees. No. What they say is they want peace. And that's where The chanting gives that hope. And actually, when they do chanting on the eve of Janmashtami, so many new souls come and do chanting. They feel the difference. They feel the difference. So, also beyond suffering and cleansing of heart, the next level step is transcendental bliss. See, in our material life, we have so many pleasures, lust based pleasures, study based pleasures, motherhood, fatherhood kind of pleasure. But everything is finicky, nashwar hai. Nothing is permanent. So you get that high for a moment and it fizzles off. But the transcendental bliss which we are talking about is permanent and it's like it's infinite. Even though we don't look forward for it as a devotee, but when we are serving Krishna or devotees of Krishna, definitely that feeling you will definitely get in phase wise manner as we move forward in Krishna consciousness. So cleansing heart, removing the suffering, and getting the happiness which you will never get in the material world. All these are combined together when we chant. Isn't that a potent package in itself? Now we can think that Prabhuji, this is very good, but what is my hope? I am a habitual smoker. I am a habitual drunkard. I am habitual this, habitual that. What is my hope? It keeps coming back in this material world, even though I like chanting, even though I do this, I do that. So in our scriptures in Adi Lila, it is clearly mentioned, we all know the story of Jagai Madai. Look at the definition of their offenses. They were drunkards, they were womanizers, they were murderers, they were everything under the sky, which has the criminal thing associated with it. And Nityanand Prabhu, merciful Nityanand Prabhu, actually gave us hope when he approached them and requested them to chant holy name. Of course, you know the past time they acted violently, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intervention, they were forgiven and they got the taste of holy name. But the point, Prabhuji Mataji, is that sometimes we are too tough on ourselves, or we give excuse to ourselves that I came too late in Krishna consciousness. I wish I could have come early. I have this bad habit, that bad habit. My family doesn't support. In my family, my husband is a non-veg, my wife is a non-veg. He is following a different uh, parampara or different lineage, and there is no support coming. But are we worse than Jagai Madai, our situation? The answer is no. So that means we have big hope. Only qualification of Jagai Madai was that when Nityanand Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu associated with them, of course they acted violently, but in the end they listened and they chanted holy name based on the instructions. And then it leads to cleansing of heart. Their sufferings got removed. And then they got transcendental bliss. So, what are the lessons here? The chanting Krishna's name is so powerful that it can redeem even the most sinful person. So, we have hope. One thing we cannot say that, Prabhuji Mataji, I am in Krishna consciousness. Now, again, I did this anartha today. So, I don't think, मैं मुंह क्या दिखाऊंगा इतने बड़े बड़े devotees हैं and I keep falling down. Then we should remember Jagai Madai. And the point is not that we are falling down. The point is how much we are repenting on it. And the point is based on the repentance, how we are coming back. How we are coming back. That enthusiasm is very important. So our qualification, one of the key qualification of chanting is enthusiasm, which doesn't need any kind of knowledge. As I was hearing in one of the lectures that we should learn from our material lords who are into business and work in Bangalore itself, where I am placed, if you see how dedicatedly all the engineers or business leaders and all are working, that dedication which they have towards material earning, if that dedication we have towards spiritual earning, we should learn from them. Then we can definitely redeem ourselves. So we can learn from our surroundings also. Also, there is no disqualification for chanting. Even the serious habitual offenders can chant and get liberated. Now, what are the qualities required for chanting? Prabhuji Mataji. So, Lord Chaitanya teaches the proper mood in which we should chant holy name. And we know this verse very well, but it is the backbone of our ISKCON society, this verse. Tinadapi suni chena tarorapi sahishnuna anmanina manadena kirtanya sadahari from Antilila, chapter 20, shloka 21. So we should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, considering oneself lower than the blade of grass, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all senses, of false prestige, and ready to offer respect to others. And in such a state of mind, one can chant holy name constantly. And straightway, we remember Srila Haridas Thakur, 192 rounds every day, almost 3 lakhs. So if we actually double click this shloka, Prabhuji Mataji, Trinadapi Sunichena talks about the humility. So we should not be chanting with pride and arrogance. And this actually is one of the practical challenges which comes with time when we are in Krishna consciousness. We start thinking that we are different from others. We start thinking we are in elite group and we should be, in the name of chanting, the pride comes, the arrogance comes that yes, इतना तो मैं कर दिया तो मैं अपने परिजनों में रिलेटिव्स में सबसे मैं अलग हूं. So that itself, the subtle pride which comes, we have to be very, very careful of. And how to deal with that? Always associate with senior Vaishnavas. Look forward to our acharyas. Look forward to Srila Prabhupada. How, in spite of knowing so much, having so much, they were so humble. And they are so humble. Next one is tolerance. Very important piece. Taro Raiva Sahishnuna. Which means that, like tree, we should tolerate the harshest conditions without complaining. And we should be sthita pragya. We should not be dwindling with times. Sometimes Maya tests us. One devotee was asking Srila Prabhupada that why Maya Lord has put. If Maya was not there, I could have done better devotion. Because of Maya, Srila Prabhupada, we are stuck. Then Prabhupada replied back saying, that is not Maya because of you are stuck, because you are not interested enough to go back to Godhead. You are stuck. Last but not the least, respect for others. Sometimes we become very self-centered. It's all about I. I want to go back to Godhead. I want to change. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want the seva. So in the end, in the mix of we are still focused on I. So that's where we do not generate respect for others. And we are somewhere in that I mode very subtly, because we are all practicing devotees. We are subtly still seeking for respect. If some devotee shouts at us in Jagannath Rath Yatra, if some devotee during prasadam distribution shouts at us, immediately we should test ourselves that time and see what bhava comes. If we are talking behind the back, in ISKCON also ye hota hai. That means respect for others, we couldn't meet to that parameter. If we are cursing that I'm not going to be associated around that devotee, this devotee, that means we have failed that test which Maya put forward to us. Sometimes when tough situation comes, we start blaming others. But actually, it's our weakness which Lord is exposing through that tough situation and making us aware so that we can get over it and move forward in Krishna conscious. So, humility, tolerance, respect for others, these are like the base, the platform on which our Bhakti Lata Beej will progress. So, these qualities create a heart that is receptive to the mercy of the holy name. By avoiding offenses, full potency of Harinam can be realized. Again, holy name awakens the love for Krishna, Prabhuji Mataji. So ultimately, the purpose of chanting holy name is to awaken Krishna Prem. We know that. Mahaprabhu himself has demonstrated through his ecstatic symptoms of divine love. So again, in Madhya Lila, chapter 17, shloka number 133, what Mahaprabhu mentions? So it's mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that Nama Chinta Mani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukta Abhinatvam Nama Namino. The holy name of Krishna is like a wish fulfilling jewel, Chintamani. It's completely spiritual, full of divine consciousness. The holy name is identical to Krishna himself. आपको पारस मणि मिल गया है, चिंतामणि पत्थर मिल गया है, spiritual चिंतामणि, not material चिंतामणि. It converts into whatever you ask, you will get, or it converts into gold, what we have heard. So where we don't have to go hither and thither. Everything for all kind of ask we have in Naam, Japna. So what is the effect of chanting? Pure chanting. So when we chant purely, which His Grace Bhurijan Prabhuji was saying that we chant our entire life to prepare for ourselves for a moment where we actually get the taste, the pure taste of chanting. An entire life or number of life goes in that. So what happens when the purity in chanting comes? As scriptures say, one enters the state of divine love. And actually, one starts seeing Krishna everywhere and constantly, like gopis, one feels separated from Krishna. And it's not just a duty or it's not just a order, instructions we have to follow, hence we have to chant. It becomes a mode of eternal blissful relationship with Krishna. So that is the effect of pure chanting. So, Prabhuji Mataji, to conclude, again, Chaitan Chaitamrita repeatedly is emphasizing what? That because we are so distracted in Kali Yuga with social media, mobile, we call it weapon of mass distraction, more dangerous than nuclear bomb. Everywhere, so much of distraction is there that we cannot meditate, we cannot do deity worship properly, we cannot do scriptural reading properly, whole 24 hours, right? So the easiest path is to chant, and that is the best path towards liberation in this age of Kali Yuga. And we do not have to go to any other spiritual shops. Chanting is non-different from Krishna. So we have to totally get immersed in chanting. Chanting also cleanses the heart, we talked about it, and removes our sufferings. And the hope we have is everybody is qualified because even the fallen souls got liberated, then we have a chance. And humility, respecting others, tolerance, sincerity, these nectars actually lead to Krishna Prem. So final takeaway, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, in his entire mission was based on spreading Harinam Sankirtan. As Bhakti Vinod Thakur's, one of the bhajanes says what? Bolo Krishna, bhajo Krishna, koro Krishna, siksha, which means chant Krishna's name worship Krishna and follows Krishna's teachings with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada's books. And this is what we have to do our entire remaining human form of life. But without the mercy of Guru, we cannot achieve this on our own. So some quotes from Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada says that even a child can take part in chanting, which is so beautiful. We see so many wonderful small children in Mayapur, Vrindavan chanting. Prabhupada says that not even a child, even a dog can take part in it. So we should be very careful when we are chanting alone. Actually, we are still doing the seva. We are making the ants hear about the holy name. Everything is energy of Krishna, the walls, the floors, right, the air. All of the entities are very fortunate that they are hearing the holy name of Krishna. Also, if we have to progress very fast in chanting, in Krishna consciousness, then we should always hanker to hear chanting from the lips of pure devotee of the Lord, so that the immediate effect can be achieved. For example, when we chant in the morning, we have Srila Prabhupada's transcendental voice, we hear. That is very important. We should not feel like, no, Prabhuji, I'm getting disturbed. My focus is going hither and thither. So I'll chant alone separately. If you don't have option, yes, we can chant anywhere, everywhere. But when we have provisions, we should always look to hear from the lips of pure devotees, the acharyas. Last but not the least, again, as in Srila Prabhupada's preaching, one nice point which I read was that his chanting was always constant, 24/7. So when he was talking to the rooms with professors, the materialists in Toronto, he was still chanting the holy name between the academic words. So it's not like I did my chanting 16 rounds plus in the morning and then whole day I am covered. So I need not chant. So every time we are sitting in office attending meeting, in our mind, as Srila Prabhupada did, we can chant. When we are walking, we can chant. When we are driving in our mind, we should keep chanting because of the impact it creates. So Prabhupada was silently chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra between their academic words. And when Prabhupada encouraged the disciples to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra while sitting with them during Prasadam feast, so one of the devotees replied or asked, but Swamiji, how can we chant and eat at the same time then? Prabhupada said, chant between the bites. So, such is the expectation from Srila Prabhupada, we as devotees. So, when we are eating prasadam, in between, are we chanting or we are doing prajalpa? So, the point is, Prabhuji Mataji, that if chanting is everything, it's a life and soul of a devotee, then why to choose which time I will chant and which time I will not chant? Yes, on Mala, we have to at least do 16 rounds as Prabhupada has instructed. But nothing stops us from chanting. If somebody is shouting in the house, you keep chanting. Some stress comes, we keep chanting. Some disease comes, we are in hospital, we keep chanting. We have seen so many wonderful devotees when they were passing the material world and they had parents, father, children beside them, but they were chanting and they didn't look at them. They were looking at picture of Lord Krishna because they got the conviction through pure chanting that this is permanent. This is the only place where I have to focus, Lord's lotus feet. So because when death comes, it's where we are easily as materialists, we can get absorbed by मेरे बच्चे का क्या होगा, मेरे husband का क्या होगा, मेरी बीवी का क्या होगा, मेरी माँ का क्या होगा. But those are temporary because we are just a custodian of our children. in this birth. We are not their permanent parents. So, to get out of that mood and come and focus on lotus feet of the Lord through the mercy of Acharyas, Guru, chanting will enable that. And how we should chant? We should chant every time, everywhere possible. While cooking, we should chant. While working, also, we should chant. Something that happens to us, we should not say, "Oh Ma, oh Papa." We should say, "Oh Krishna." So when we start to do that, then we can measure ourselves to think that, yes, we are doing stepwise progress. So with that, I would like to conclude, Prabhuji Mataji, and thank you so much for your patient hearing. And again, all these big words and big talks which I have done, I have not scratched the surface of it. So I pray to all the senior devotees, the wonderful devotees here, for your blessings, and kindly forgive me if I said something untowards. Just following Sri God Prabhuji's instruction in Guru Parampara. And as Prabhupada says, anybody can preach. And that is very important in Krishna consciousness, because else how we can bring all the souls back to Godhead. So preaching is very important mission, and anybody and everybody can preach. So thank you so much. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all goes to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, Nishant Prabhuji. So it's an excellent talk. Actually, this nearly 40 minutes, we are completely glued to your uh, glorification and the holy name, how it helps us and to get away from this material world, right? And how it cleanses the heart and what kind of qualification we need. All those things are highlighted, though we know all these things, but you explained it in a very simple, understandable way. We always, this is the spiritual knowledge. Every time we hear, we get something more. You explained it very nicely, Prabhuji. Yeah. They also highlighted we have to chant always when we are, driving a bike or car or cooking or taking bath. So we can always chant so that when we are leaving the body, we remember the lotus feet of Krishna. So wonderful. So wonderful, Prabhuji. So if now the floor is open for questions. If anyone has any questions, they can just unmute themselves and ask. They can put their questions in chat window. Shri Gaur Prabhuji is not well, so that's the reason he didn't hold the session today. So,
I'll pray for Prabhuji's well-being.
I think in the chat window, any questions on that? Okay, looks like your speech is very clear, Prabhuji. Looks like devotees do not have any questions. Explained everything in a very understandable way. Like there are a lot of verses you have given, like Cheto Darpana Marjan, how it cleanses the heart, and then what mood we have to chant. Trinadepi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishna. So we hear every time, but when we hear these words again and again from sincere and serious devotees like you, we always get inspiration so that we can improve our chanting. Thank you. So Jyoti Machaji is saying, thank you, Prabhuji. It's a very knowledgeable presentation. Vidyapati Vaja Prabhuji mentioned, very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you for a wonderful session and nice references from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna. Abjit Prabhuji commented, very wonderful session, Prabhuji. You have covered all aspects of chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Sudhakumar Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Wonderful points, Prabhu. Have done all the neophyte anarthas, especially assuming I am better than my relatives who are Shaivites. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nicely explained, Sachit Prabhu. So looks like everyone relished your talk, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Thank you very much. looks like there are no other questions. Maybe we'll wait for 10-15 seconds.
Share the slides, Prabhuji. Nishant, Prabhu, share the slides in the group.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll share with the group, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.